I don't have borderline personality disorder personally, but my mom is a quiet borderline. And between talking to her and talking to other borderlines on here, the connections that my mind has made about it is, okay, borderline personality disorder is like a severe allergic reaction to narcs from growing up around narcs. As long as a borderline is around people with a healthy amount of empathy, that was my mom waving in the window. But yeah, when my mom's around people with healthy amounts of empathy, she never splits. Because people with healthy amounts of empathy walk the walk. They're not the ones that say, oh, I understand, and then continue to change nothing afterwards. People with healthy amounts of empathy will change their behavior if they wrong someone. Narcs are very hindered in this capacity because of the shame they carry. That constant feeling of inadequacy means that they can't empathize properly with people. And when you grow up in a family of narcs, it's like you are destined to have borderline personality disorder. That or they'll shame you into being a narc yourself. And because being around narcs was her status quo, she managed to make a 20-year marriage to my dad actually happen. A narc and a borderline together seemed to be the perfect shitstorm. Like Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, that was my childhood. My mom perpetually trying to just get some acknowledgement that her needs actually exist in my dad's mind. And my dad even just perpetually ignoring her while she's speaking. Don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. The matter is resolved because we're not talking about it. Yeah, my childhood was volatile. But then my mom is a borderline, so she has the fear of abandonment. And because she's a quiet borderline, she internalized everything. So in her mind, her marriage going to shit was all her fault, her own doing. And so she kept trying to make it work, trying to get my dad to change. And the last time a narc actually changed was like, what, never? Okay, that's a little absolute. Some of them become self-aware and can get psychotherapy to improve a bit. But yeah, a 20-year marriage of my dad ignoring my mom and my mom blaming herself for it. Like, how much of that just resonates with white people and their own families? One of your parents perpetually ignoring your other parent's needs, and your other parent just internalizing it, thinking it must be their own fault. If the narc is stable, they're not going to pull the cord out on a marriage. At least not until they find another supply. Because a divorce brings a lot of instability into a life that they're not prepared for. So my dad would never leave my mom. It took my mom finally leaving him. And my dad just sits there framing it like all narcs do. Well, I wanted to try, but she walked away. He didn't try at all. I don't fault him for it because I know he couldn't. And what's really funny is my mom, after years and years of them being divorced, doesn't fault him for it either. Because she understands now that he couldn't try. And they're actually friends. Not lovers, friends. My mom has enough self-respect to get into a relationship with a narc again. But it's interesting because they're both baby boomers. And the baby boomers aren't really about all these mental health labels. And just how much my mom instinctively knows how to navigate people who have cluster B disorders. Like her best friend is a narc. And she just says, I know very well I'm never going to get my say on everything. I have that expectation going into every meeting with her. And I just limit my time. It's like realistic expectations that she didn't need the DSM to find.